Hello fellow astrologers, welcome back to the next video in our Astrology Keyring Fundamental series. In this video we're going to be talking about what is the mutable modality. We're also going to touch on a little bit about what are all the signs, the houses and planets. We're going to see how they all connect on the keyring here, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the keywords. Mutability is the final video in our B series, and it symbolizes closure. Mutable signs arrive at the end of each season, representing transition, transformation, and fluidity. These are the adaptable, flexible, and versatile signs, able to adjust to change and help others do the same. They are often skilled communicators, thinkers, and problem solvers, seeking possibilities where others see obstacles. Mutable signs don't cling to one form. They shift, evolve, and respond to their surroundings. While this makes them open-minded and resourceful, it can also lead to inconsistency, scattered focus, or indecision. When balanced, mutable signs bring closure, understanding, and transformation. Cool. So, like all our videos, we like talking a little bit about our links. Like the what is a mutable modality is an interactive link to Google search. We'll open that up a little bit later. First, we want to talk about what are all the different signs and planets and houses. Each one of these named topics has a Google link attached to it where you can go and research those in more detail. All the numbered and lettered items here are the links to the actual videos where we talk about the subjects themselves. So if you want to cut straight to the chase and go to one of these, you can click straight on it in the book and go straight to those topics. But let's go over what are all the mutable signs. The mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. The mutable houses are the 3rd house, the 6th house, the 9th house, and the 12th house. The mutable planets are Mercury, Jupiter, and Neptune. As you can see, Mercury is shared by both these two signs. We'll talk more about that in the D section. When you look at these linear across, Gemini is connected to the 3rd house and Mercury. Virgo is connected to the 6th house and Mercury. Sagittarius is connected to the 9th house and Jupiter. And Pisces is connected to the 12th house and Neptune. Now, let's go over here and look at how it's all connected over here on the keyring. As you can see, we've progressed the square on. We started out in the 1st house, moved on to the 2nd house and the 3rd. Now we're on to the 3rd house, where Gemini rules the 3rd house and Mercury. Now granted, Mercury it also shares with Virgo over here, which is the next house. The 6th house is Virgo, shares rulership with Mercury with Gemini. And we go to the next house, which is Sagittarius, is the 12th house, and it rules Jupiter. And over here is Pisces in the 12th house with Neptune. Now, once upon a time, it did share Jupiter. But again, we'll talk about that in the planet section in D. Now, down here at the bottom, we've connected what are all the mutable signs. So you can see it linearly with the same information that's here in the little, or in the clustered bits of information. It goes over what are all the mutables, mutable. And you can see that information more in detail. So now let's go over what Google has to say and see if it matches up somewhat with what we've had to say. The 4 mutable signs in astrology are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Known for their flexibility, adaptability, and open-mindedness, these signs are often referred to as the chameleons of the zodiac, thriving in changing circumstances and acting as the shapeshifters who can bring a situation to a conclusion. They come at the end of each astrological season, embodying the energy needed to transform and prepare for the next phase. That is a really cool descriptor sentence. As you can see, as per always, they got a lot of good other information here in the deep dive. But remember, every time you click on the link, it'll be a little bit different, so it probably won't be what you see here. So let's scroll down and see what other pages have. Looks like we have a bunch of fashion magazines in the beginning. I tend to stay away from what the magazines have to say. But let's go ahead and go to BedThreads. and finish off their little section here, down here at the bottom, where they do mutable signs. Mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. As you may have guessed, mutable signs represent the end of each season. A plan can be created by a cardinal sign, built by a fixed sign, and then perfected with a thoughtful eye by a mutable sign. Older and wiser, they know all things, looks like a typo, they know all things must come to an end, and their role is to prepare everyone for the changing of season. Regardless of whether these endings are good or bad, mutable signs have the power to enforce an intelligent and positive spin on any situation, bringing it to a solid conclusion. Often referred to as the chameleons of the modalities, they're the most flexible and adaptable of the three signs. That's pretty true. They are very flexible and adaptable. Here's just a good little set of paragraphs. Talk a little bit about it. Let's move down. I would do Center for Excellence, but it's got more ads than it's got information. It's got a lot of good information, but it's hard to sift through. So let's move on. I don't typically use Reddit or some of these InStyle. Excellence. Let's move on to the next page and see what we have over here. All right, let's try the Zodiac signs. Mutable qualities. This is the quality of all signs that have already had enough and need change. They all look forward to the new season, whatever it is, and they are already a mix of the old and the new. We can't say that they represent the end of something, but rather a combination of an end with a new beginning, intertwined. This is a quality of constant change and the unexpected, and sometimes that brings message of the future and what is yet to come. All the signs with this quality have the ability to sense things before they arrive, and many of those gifted individuals that foretell our future have these areas of the zodiacs accented. Mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. That was another quick little paragraph. It looks like they have some other bits of information on the other mutable signs. That's a pretty good little paragraph. I'm going to back it up here, and it looks like sometimes you get into your research and you find that there's just not a lot of information on what you're looking for. And this, although you can go down some of these other places and check some of those out, we kind of hit on most of the ones that had most of the good information just as a quickie to see what's there. But it's good to always check your references. So let's go ahead and go back. We're going to go over all of these cool keywords now. Like we said earlier, mutability ends the seasons, says season ending. The seasons they end. The ending of spring is Gemini. The ending of summer is Virgo. The ending of fall is Sagittarius. And the ending of winter is Pisces. So it shows you that it comes full circle, and once it ends at Gemini, it starts out in Cancer in the next one. Every new beginning starts from something else's ending. Let's read the general traits. One thing I always like to do with the general traits is put a balance of general traits, positive and negative, so that you can get a full feel of some things that pertain to what the topic is. Let's read those general traits. Adaptability, changeability, flexibility, thoughtfulness, communication, and closure. Positive traits: open-minded, curious, helpful, versatile, observant, creative, and problem-solving. Negative traits: inconsistent, indecisive, easily distracted, over-accommodating, unfocused, and escapist. These are some pretty good keywords to tell you a little bit more about what mutability is. And like everything else, you may find later on, we may talk about Virgo or something else, and we may bring up one of these keywords like flexibility. Virgos have flexibility and they're thoughtful, because those are keywords that all mutables will have, and it will show back up later on when we talk about the signs. Well, that pretty much sums up what is the mutable modality. B3 is the last video in the modality series. Up next in C0, we're going to be talking about all of the signs. We'll go over all 12 of the signs and give you a brief rundown of them before we go on to give more detail for each and every one of them. We hope you have enjoyed this video from our Astrology Keyring series. If you like the content, please like, follow, and share with your friends. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed journey.